Okay, this is going to be a short video going over this flat model of the endocrine system, just going over each of the glands and pointing out important regions. So first I'm going to zoom up here and show you this image of the brain right here, and realize that the brain area that's the most important is right here. That's going to be the hypothalamus, and right under the hypothalamus is the primary gland of the body. This is the pituitary gland right here. This is a blow up of the pituitary gland right here on this flat model. Okay, so we're going to have the anterior pituitary and the posterior pituitary. Now also on here you can see right back here at the back of the thalamus is the pineal gland. That's also part of the endocrine system and makes melatonin. So just in this top area we have three important areas: hypothalamus, pituitary gland, pineal gland. All right, then going down in the throat right here, this is the thyroid gland. And over here, we see a blow up of the thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is going to produce thyroid hormones known as T3 and T4. We'll talk about those a bit more in lecture. It also has thyroid follicles that are being formed by a ring of thyroid follicular cells. And then inside each follicle is a stash of thyroglobulin, which you will see on the microscope slide. Now, if we were to turn this one around, on the back of the thyroid, you can see it's the same shape, there are at least 4 smaller glands called the parathyroid glands, and they are going to help with calcium ion balance. Okay, so all of this would be right in this area. Front is the thyroid gland, parathyroids on the back. As we go down a little bit further, we see the heart, and sitting on the heart is the thymus gland, and that's going to have a function in immunity. Continuing down the body, you see right here the 2 kidneys, and on top of each kidney is an adrenal gland. So here is a blow up of the adrenal gland. The adrenal gland is a twofer. It's got a capsule on the outside, then it has the section here which is called the cortex. We'll learn about the 3 layers of the cortex and what each layer makes. And then in the very center of the adrenal gland is the adrenal medulla. And as we were studying the sympathetic nervous system, we learned how the adrenal medulla will secrete epinephrine and norepinephrine. Okay. Back to our middle diagram here from the adrenal gland, we'll move down and we see this large organ here. This is the pancreas, and the pancreas is mostly a digestive system organ. It has lots of cells that are called acinar cells that make different enzymes, but embedded among the acinar cells you will see patches of another type. So on this blow up section here, these large pink ones here would be the acinar cells, and then these lighter cells form this structure which is called a pancreatic islet. So these would be referred to as the islet cells. Now we're going to go a little bit further in lecture. We're going to learn about the alpha cells and the beta cells that are in the islets and what they make. But that is what the pancreas's contribution to the endocrine system is, the islet cells. All right, going back to our middle section here, as we go to the bottom, we see we have a uterus with ovaries, or we have a set of testicles. So let's look at the testes first. This is also an endocrine tissue. It has seminiferous tubules inside the testis, and that's where we're going to be maturing the sperm. And then in between those cells, we're going to have what are called interstitial cells that are going to contribute hormones that will help with sperm development. And then over here, this represents the ovary, which by the way is right here on the diagram. Okay, and this is an ovary. An ovary is where the female will mature one of her oocytes to eventually become a mature ovum and be ovulated, but it gets it ready in here. And so on the microscope slide, you guys will be identifying the Graafian or tertiary follicle. All right, so let me back up one more time. And so now you should know the location and identification of all of these glands.